2017 was certainly a memorable year on the global lane. This year, we started to see a shift in American foreign policy as the Trump Doctrine took shape. There will be no more apologies for past American behavior, no more appeasement of those who have opposed the vital interests of the United States. Remember this warning while North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un was in the middle of a record number of ballistic missile launches? Trump had just about enough of the Rocket Man's threats.
North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen.
The Trump Doctrine is coming into focus. The United States will intervene whenever and wherever necessary to protect the interests of America first. Then we'll act on behalf of our friends. So did we swear in a hawkish president in 2017? No, not so fast. Trump appears unwilling to spend American tax dollars on unnecessary and unwise intervention. This is a president who said the United States has wasted $6 trillion on wars since 9/11. Now, some experts say the cost to American taxpayers is actually closer to $5 trillion, with about $2 trillion of that spent in Afghanistan alone. Well, regardless, it's a lot of money. And Mr. Trump says it could have been better spent on improving infrastructure and security right here at home. Watch this video that went viral recently on the internet. It's former President George W. Bush, I think from 2007, suggesting why we often get bogged down in wars.
Money trumps peace sometimes. In other words, commercial interests are very powerful interests.
A lot of money can be made on the weapons of war. Each plane shot down, each Tomahawk missile fired must be replaced. Cruise missiles now cost about $1 million each. 320 Tomahawks were fired on Baghdad. Remember the March 2003 shock and awe campaign against Saddam Hussein? Well, in today's dollars, that would be at least $325 million for those missiles. Oh, and by the way, if an F-35 fighter jet crashes or is shot down, they currently cost about $95 million each. And then, of course, there's the money to be made in rebuilding a country's infrastructure destroyed by bombs, rockets, and mortars. Just take a look at Mosul. These are exclusive images taken by CBN News on a recent visit there. The cost to rebuild that city because of ISIS? More than $1 billion. So pray for this president in 2018 for wisdom and protection from evil forces. Maybe what's really at the heart of all this impeachment talk is not just resistance to the draining of the Washington swamp, but also a response to the president opposing many of those commercial interests that President Bush mentioned. So what's ahead in 2018? Will Donald Trump's tough-talking tweets and rhetoric lead to war on the Korean Peninsula? I think the president uses them as a tool to get his way in negotiations. Precision strikes to take out North Korea's nuclear and missile technology appear increasingly likely. But a lot will depend on how North Korea responds to tougher economic sanctions imposed on that regime. Much will also depend on China and if the communist government continues to enable Kim Jong-un. And what about the Middle East? Might Turkey, Iran, and Hezbollah start a war with Israel? Turkey President Erdogan still has delusions of reestablishing the Ottoman Empire. He wants to regain Islamic control over all of Jerusalem. Trump and America's moderate Arab allies aren't likely to allow that to happen. Saudi Arabia is already fighting a proxy war against Iran in Yemen and Syria. Trump has worked hard to help solidify Israel's quiet alliance with moderate Arab states. And it's another part of that Trump doctrine, bringing Middle East countries together in opposing the greatest threat to regional security, Iran. Will we see a new war in the Middle East because of U.S. recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital? I guess it'll all depend on perceptions of weakness and strength. And one thing I've learned from my time in the Middle East over the past 3 decades is that the words of President Ronald Reagan often ring true. He said, quote, "We maintain the peace through our strength. Weakness only invites aggression," end quote. Well, if Turkey, Iran, and Hezbollah see that America and its allies are divided in the Middle East, they will move militarily. If they see a wall of strength, not in words but also in action, they're more likely to back down. As for Russia, the same. Despite an investigation that is unlikely to find collusion between the president and Russia, Mr. Trump has moved forward in imposing tougher sanctions on that country. He's also sent defensive weaponry to Ukraine. Those actions have angered the Kremlin. But again, peace through strength. Russia is unlikely to act when America and her allies show unity and strength. In 2018, Russia is more likely to cooperate with the United States to end the wars in Afghanistan and Syria. A lot of oil, gas, and other commercial interests are at stake in those countries, but peace in both countries is long overdue. Afghans and Syrians have suffered immensely. They deserve a better future. So there's a lot to pray about on the global lane in the new year, but let's not worry about the future. We're told in Matthew 6:34, therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Yes, there will be many troubles in 2018, but I pray that it'll be a year of tremendous blessings and godly favor for each one of you. And remember the previous verse of Matthew 6. Let's not forget that. Verse 33 says, but seek first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. So keep seeking, keep knocking on that door in 2018. And that's it from the Global Lane. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, and iTunes. And until next time, be blessed.